When you're buying a home, whether it's your dream house or the house that you plan to live in, more likely than not, you're going to end up financing it. And when you finance a home, you go through a legal process that initiates what's called a mortgage. Mortgage. Someone, the lender, gives you money. You never actually get to touch it because you're in a lawyer's office. And with the swipe of a pen, the money is magically in your possession. And then another piece of paper comes across the table, swipe the pen, sign your name, and that money goes to whomever owned the house that you're buying it from. So the money comes to you. And then you sign another document saying, I get this house and I have to pay back that mortgage. There are many laws that govern how a mortgage works. Among those laws is the lender is required to give you an amortization schedule. The lender is required to give you a lot of other information, but you're also able to see how each one of your monthly payments is applied to either interest or principal. There are a lot of reasons why the laws are different. Many laws changed after 2008, which was the U.S.'s horrible mortgage crisis. And so there's other information that has to be provided ahead of time to the borrower. And because of Department of Homeland Security, there's more information that you have to provide as the borrower or the purchaser. So I've already asked you to find your dream house. Your dream houses are really awesome. I appreciate the different shades of your personalities that have shown through in picking your dream house. When you found that dream house, more than likely the site that you were on let you know what interest rate you could reasonably expect to get. It might be a little bit up or a little bit down. We're going to go with whatever you were able to find. Now, if where you located that house did not provide you with an interest rate, you need to search for mortgage rates in that zip code. So if I were going to try to buy a house or pretend to try to buy a house in 27101 zip code, I would type into my search bar mortgage rates zip code 27101. Stuff would pop up. I'd click. The two things I want you to look for is a 15-year rate and a 30-year rate. Your 15-year rate means you're only going to have an installment loan, a mortgage for 15 years. So 180 payments. The interest rate's going to be lower on a 15-year mortgage, but your payments are going to be higher because you're going to be paying down your principal a little bit faster. For a 30-year mortgage, 360 installments, your interest rates are going to be a little bit higher because they want to get as much of that interest from you in the beginning because you're a long haul person there. Now, when you look at a video I've already shared with you where I was demonstrating my dream house and a Google Sheet template that I built for you, It wasn't finished yet, but now it's finished. And so you're going to take your selling price of your house, your 30-year rate, and your 15-year rate, and you're going to pop those into one of two tabs. There's going to be a 30-year tab on that Google Sheet, and there's going to be a 15-year tab on the Google Sheet. Make sure you put the right interest rates in the right spots. And then the amortization schedules will be built for you. Make sure that you keep a copy of it. Don't delete it, because I am going to be asking you some questions based on your sheet. Sheets, plural. The last thing that I want to say is make sure you look for fixed rates. There are these things called ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages. That's what got a lot of people in a lot of trouble back in 2008. Adjustable rate mortgages means that for a certain period of time, you've got one interest rate, and then later on it switches to another. And more often than not, that early interest rate is low, so that you have lower payments, which means less is going towards principal and more is going towards interest. And then suddenly, once that time frame has passed, that adjustable rate kicks in, and bam, your payments go up. Some people found at the end of 5 years of making payments that they actually owed more than they originally borrowed. And that's because their payments weren't enough to cover the interest. And so there was nothing left to pay down principal, and interest just kept stacking on top. And so when the rates adjusted, bam, their payments went up. It hit my neighborhood particularly hard. We had a lot of people walk away from their homes in my neighborhood because their payments were so high and they owed so much more than their houses were worth that they just walked away. They just packed up their stuff and left their homes. So there were a lot of foreclosures in my neighborhood back in 2008 to 2012. Some of those houses still have not sold. There are still a few empty houses on my block. And part of the reason why there's so many empty houses is the value of the homes in my neighborhood have dropped significantly. And so it's just not profitable for a real estate agent or a banker to try to sell them. Because a house that 20 years ago might have sold for $80,000 is now only worth about $35,000. And I'm not making that number up. That's one that I know for certain. A house that was $80,000 20 years ago is now worth less than half. And it's because the property values all went down in my neighborhood with a number of foreclosures. What foreclosure means is the bank says you haven't made your payment in a long enough period of time that you've now defaulted on your loan. We don't expect to ever get any money back from you, and we take the house because the house is collateral on the mortgage. Then lawyers get involved, sheriffs get involved. It's a huge mess. And then next up, we're going to start getting ready for doing a little bit of basic statistics. Not a lot, a little. Don't need a fancy calculator. If you need me, You know where to find me.